Hello everybody, hopefully this will be third time lucky. Really sorry for the technical issues. I'm trying to live stream on 3 different platforms for the first time ever. Trying to live stream on YouTube, Mixer and Twitch. But the problem is I've live streamed on YouTube plenty of times and that is the only platform giving me a problem. So I don't know if this is going to work. The problem with live streaming is obviously the only way to experiment to try and fix these problems and get things to work is actually by live streaming. So hopefully this works now, and once it does, we can get into researching this fight. So let me know if you can hear me okay, guys, if you can see me, all that kind of stuff. And as soon as we know we are good, we will kick things off and get things going. So yeah, it works fine on Twitch. Working fine on Twitch. Thanks, Shut Me Balls. Anyone on YouTube can see this? Anybody at all? YouTube giving us big issues tonight, boys. I even think Mixer's working fine. Alright, it looks like we are live on the YouTube as well. So finally get it working on all platforms. Very, very good. Thank you. So sorry everyone for all the technical issues. Bit of a nightmare getting this set up. But it was the first time we were doing it. Now we've got it working the first time. Everything should be easier now to do in the future. But yeah, I mean, fucking YouTube, man, absolute nightmare. But it's not a streaming platform, is it? It's no surprise the Mixer and Twitch is going to be a lot better for live streaming. And if you do want to watch this on Mixer, you can check me out, mixer.com/Diary of a Pro Gambler. This is my first ever live stream on there. Hello Beep Beep in my Jeep. Hello Stephen Blades. Hello Tom Lock. Hello Boogie, how is everybody doing? We just got off a mammoth live stream. We did like a 3-hour live stream on that Gadea versus Grasso fight. That was pretty grueling, man. That was a slog to say the least. So feeling a little bit drained actually, man. I was getting a little bit animated over the whole Gadea versus Grasso fight. I initially thought Gadea would be an amazing bet with how bad Grasso's takedown defense has looked in the past, but for tons of reasons I won't bore you with now, because we'll be getting into that fight in the live stream on Saturday. It turned out Gadea isn't as good as a bet that I thought she would be, and yeah, that fight is fucking chaos. So I'm sick of talking about that fight. Let's move on to a new one. So the reason why I really wanted to jump into this fight with you guys this evening is because over the last 24 hours or so, we started to see quite a bit of odds movement on this fight, actually, with Askarov's odds starting to decline. Well, actually, for the last week or so, they've been consistently declining, down from around, close to even money, all the way down to 1.70 territory. So I've been caught sleeping a little bit on this fight, but you know what? After watching Askarov's last fight against Moreno, he's not the kind of guy I would be rushing out to bet, to be honest. So this is a really rough live research session. We're going to be researching this fight together. We're going to be watching some of Askarov's past fights together. And I'm just going to be taking you through my whole research process, top to bottom. So obviously, for copyright reasons, I can't obviously show you the fights that are locked down on UFC Fight Pass because I don't want to get sued and shut down from YouTube. But I have watched Tim Elliott's last fights dating all the way back to the Louis Smoker fight back in April 2017. And I also watched Askarov's UFC debut against Brandon Moreno. And together in this live stream, we're going to be watching his 3 fights before that from these ACB promotions. So the process we'll go through in this live stream is we will take a look at all the X factors in this matchup. Then I'll talk you through kind of what I've seen from the fights that I've just watched of these two boys that we can watch together. And then the third stage of this live stream will be going through these 3 fights from Askarov, and we'll take a look at them together, break him down, see what he brings to the table. Then we'll discuss how he matches up against Elliott, and then finally, we'll have a little bit of a Q&A at the end. But at any point, boys, jump in with any questions you've got, and I'll answer them as we go, man. Yeah, Paul Berry, nice to be back, man. You gotta watch this YouTube thing, boys. I'm telling you, YouTube are fucking themselves over quite bad because they banned me for no reason, basically. Like, I don't even know why they banned me. So they banned me from live streaming on YouTube for 3 months. I finally got it back sometime over Christmas. And over the last 3 months, I've been live streaming on Twitch instead. And it's so much better than YouTube. Like, way better. But I understand that a lot more people are on YouTube. So that's why I'm live streaming on all platforms, right? You can watch me on Mixer, Twitch, or YouTube now. It's up to you. I'm everywhere. But yeah, man, Twitch is so much better than YouTube. It's quite frustrating, actually. I'm hoping we don't get banned again, because fuck knows, man. They might ban me after this one. We'll see. So, first thing we want to do is take a look at some X Factors in this fight. And I also want to give a big shout out to one of my VIP members. I haven't watched this video yet, but probably Cicero shared this video earlier on today, saying that James Lynch, who is a top-notch MMA journalist, has said that Tim Elliott is coming in this fight with an injury or something. I'm not sure exactly. So let's just watch this interview together. So apparently it's at 8 minutes 40. James Lynch is the guy on the left. I'm going to play this interview now and let's see what he's got to say about Tim Elliott coming into this one.
Some sources that Elliott's not 100% going into this fight. I can't get into too much detail about that, but hearing what I heard definitely makes me not want to pick him in this one. So I don't even think it's worth it to lay a bet on Tim Elliott. I'll take Askarov by decision and putting on a pretty good performance here in his sophomore effort in the UFC. All right, let's get to
What does that mean, James? What does that mean? What does it mean? Like, what does it mean? Like, James Lynch is not a muppet. Like, James Lynch is a good guy. He's a smart guy. He's doing a picks video with Nick Baldwin from... I'm not sure when Nick is writing for now. I know he's with Bloody Elbow for a bit. There's no smoke without fire. Why would James Lynch say this? Why would he say this? Is this the reason why Askarov's odds have been steadily declining for the last week? Do people know something we don't? It was very quick. He glossed over this. Let's listen one more time.
It's able to use that reach advantage. That could be interesting here too. But the pick is going to be Askarov. The other thing I'll mention, I've heard on, through some sources that Elliott's not 100% going into this fight. I can't get into too much detail about that, but hearing what I heard definitely makes me not want to pick him in this one. So I don't even think it's worth it to lay a bet on Tim Elliott. I'll take Askarov by decision and putting on a pretty good performance here in his sophomore effort in the UFC.
What does it mean, boys? What does it mean? I mean, that makes it real difficult, right, to bet Elliott, because why would James Lynch say that? He's not a muppet. Do you know what I mean? He's not the kind of guy that is going to be just making shit up. Like, there's no smoke without fire, right? Vchek Ma is saying that he sent a link on the YouTube comment for this stream. Cheers, dude. Shut Me Balls is saying, I think it's very important to factor in Moreno may not have looked good in his debuts. He was in Mexico City. That's a good point, dude. So Alex Leon is saying that Tim Elliott was involved in a car accident recently. Jesus. Vchek saying it's a car accident. Somebody hit Tim Elliott and his daughter while they were driving. Oh, nice one. So Dylan Red is asking if I think Sodiq Yusuff is a good bet. I haven't researched that fight yet, dude. I'm quite tired at the moment, but I'm noticing the odds are declining on Yusuff at the moment, and he's one of the names that jumps out at me as a good potential bet. So I think I might just do a tired live stream after this on my website and research that Yusuff versus Philly fight just to get out the way, man, because I don't want to miss the boat on Yusuff. Conscious that if I go to bed, I might wake up tomorrow and his odds would have got steamed. So I probably need to get to that Yusuff fight quickly. Let's have a little bit of a Google, see if we can find out more information on this car accident and how serious it was. Is there any information out there? Not really. How do you guys know about this car accident? Oh, here we go. What does this say? Alright, so let's read this out. So, Tim Elliott said, so for Elliott, he believes this fight at UFC 246 is the most important of his career. And given the stakes, the training camp also did not go the 33-year-old's way, as he was in a car accident that left him with a minor injury. Okay, this is everything. A loss here and I could be looking at getting cut again. This is my most important fight right now. I need to win this one in order to keep in the promotion. I am kind of put in a corner right now, but I like that. I've been there before. I like these high pressure situations. When shit is going smooth, I don't fight as well, but when shit's not going right, I tend to overcome. This whole camp, I have embraced that. I was in a car accident, a hit and run accident. I took a little injury from that. Me and my daughter and my girlfriend Gina Mazzani were bad sick for like a week. All that negative stuff motivates me, makes me feel good. I'm ready to go. When was this posted? January 15th. Fucking hell, it was posted yesterday, so who knows how long ago this car accident took place. Elliott says he doesn't know much about the Russian other than the fact that this will be a tough bout. Honestly, I don't know much. I know he likes to take an... I know he kind of takes an ugly shot. He's real clean and he doesn't want to strike much. Good submissions, good grappler, real sneaky off his back. But I don't know too much about him and I don't watch very much tape. I just let my coaches do that. I hate it when fighters say that. I did watch the Brandon Moreno fight because I trained with him. And he is my friend, and I thought Moreno won that fight. It was a really good fight, and he is a tough opponent. Okay, he thinks he'll be able to be the fastest fighter and avoid those takedowns. And peace, Askarov en route to the win. It is hard to say. I know he'll be really anxious to try and get a takedown. I'm usually a guy that likes to go forward and get all wild, but I feel like for this fight, I need to get on my bike and do some backpedaling and really work my movement and athleticism. Usually in this division, I am not the most athletic guy and I'm not the faster guy, but in this fight, I feel like I am the more athletic and the faster guy. My plan is just to try and out-athlete him and try to be the better athlete and try and be out of his way. Fuck me, whoever wrote this. Is the best we thought, yada yada yada. Alright, so he's saying there he's got a minor injury. James Lynch is saying he doesn't want to bet him because he's got kind of a relatively serious injury. Very, very interesting. It's a tough one, man. It is a tough one. I'll tell you a little bit about where I am on this one. I will tell you a little bit before we get into watching the footage. I am not impressed by Askarov at all based on his UFC debut. If Askarov shows up and fights like he did against Brandon Moreno, I think Elliott's got a great chance of winning. But like who said it? A few people have said it. Like Shut Me Balls said, can't be too harsh on Askarov because it was his UFC debut, and of course the fight against Moreno took place in Mexico City at altitude, and Askarov did get a little bit tired in that fight, so it's not easy making the UFC debut at altitude. Gotta cut him a little bit of slack, but he didn't look good at all. One of the things that I really disliked about his performance against Moreno was that he kept giving up position and getting caught up in scrambles and losing the scramble against Moreno. And of course we know Elliott loves to get into crazy scrambles on the ground. He's very good at winning scrambles and he's very slippery and very tricky and difficult to control. And I feel like if Askarov starts to mix it up with Elliott on the ground, based on his performance against Moreno, he could really find himself in a hell of a lot of trouble. But again, we can't be too harsh on him, which is why we need to go and watch more of his fights, because another thing to take into consideration with Askarov, we check his Instagram profile, is that he is currently training under Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida. You know, we see a picture here, plenty of beasts in this picture. You got Eddie Alvarez, Cody Garbrandt is working with Mark Henry at the moment. We got Caitlin Chukagian on the end, Sahara Eubanks. He's training alongside Claudia Gadea, who is going to be fighting this weekend as well. Here he is at Nick Catone MMA with the man himself. So with Askarov, this is a guy that can be making big improvements from fight to fight. I'm sure he's training with Zabit as well. So we've got to be conscious of that. You know what I mean? He might have had a bad night at the office in his debut in Mexico City. Also, doesn't help that he's giving up a big size. Is there a size difference here? Actually, not really much of a size difference. I don't think if Moreno would stand still, we'd be able to gain a better idea of it. Please stand still. He doesn't stand still. Okay, never mind. There it looks like Moreno had quite a bit of a size difference, but was that in the middle of a jump? Looks like it probably was. So yeah, Askarov probably making big improvements from fight to fight, and Elliott is a guy that does seem to have a lot going on outside the cage at the moment, which could have a real detrimental effect on his performance this weekend. You know, he's only fought once in the last 2 years. He lost inside 3 minutes, and he does have a young daughter to support. He has moved his training camp out to Las Vegas from, I believe he was training in, was it Arizona? I think, with James Krause. And the problem is, when you've only fought, one time in the last sort of like 2 years, Elliott obviously needs to win this fight to get paid. Or he needs to actually fight to get paid, right? He's only had one paycheck in the last 2 years. Probably didn't earn that much money for the fight. He's not going to be on a particularly great contract. Probably still on the Ultimate Fighter contract. And that means, in my opinion, it's more likely that he would fight injured just to get paid. So there could be a little bit of truth in what James Lynch is saying. When a guy's only fought once in the last 2 years, he needs a paycheck, which means it's much more likely he's going to fight injured. So what James Lynch said is a little bit scary. And I would like to contact James, man, and just see a little bit, try and get him to elaborate even in the DMs or something. He probably won't, but I would like to know a little bit more about what he knows, because that is certainly scaring me off Elliott a little bit. Also, if we look at his Instagram profile, we can see that he's currently training at some small gyms in Las Vegas. Here he is with Donovan Fralo, who is the brother of Khalil Roundtree. But aside from that, he's just kind of training in, some really low-quality gyms, actually, in Vegas. Places like Syndicate, places like Extreme Couture. And, you have different levels of MMA gym, right? You've got, like, the super gyms like Tiger Muay Thai and ATT, where, when fighters go to train at those gyms, it's like huge brownie points. It's like fair play. That's fucking wicked. Like, the fighters that train at those gyms usually make, big improvements from fight to fight. And then there are other gyms which are a bit of a joke, and Extreme Couture is one of them, Syndicate MMA is one of them. Pretty much all the gyms in Las Vegas are a bit of a joke, and when fighters move to these gyms, they very rarely improve, and quite often they actually regress. So when I see fighters move to go and train full time in these Vegas gyms, it's a huge red flag for me. So there are big boy red flags present with Tim Elliott, and they come in the form of X factors. I don't like how he's only fought once in the last 2 years. I don't like how there's rumours of an injury situation going on, and I don't like how it's more likely he might fight injured because he needs a goddamn paycheck. So that's Elliott out the way and Askarov out the way. We've covered all the X factors. Now let's talk about how they match up from a stylistic point of view. So when I went back and watched Askarov's UFC debut against Moreno, I know it was his debut, I know it was in Mexico City, I know it was at altitude, but not that impressed by Askarov at all. He is primarily a grappler by the looks of it. He loves to try and take his opponents down, but was losing the scramble against Moreno, was giving up position a lot. And something that I really disliked about Askarov was that he looked very weak off his back. He did allow Moreno to control him for long periods of time, and he didn't really show any urgency to work his way back to his feet, which is a big red flag. Another thing that I didn't like is, sometimes guys haven't got the energy to work their way back to his feet, but he was still quite active off his back, throwing strikes and stuff. He just didn't really show any urgency to improve his position, and I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. It's quite a passive attitude, similar to what we saw from Ode Osborne, really, when we were showing footage of him, against the guys that he's fought over the last couple of years. He's very weak off his back. But Tim Elliott's got his own issues as well. Elliott's obviously a very goofy fighter, really, just a goofy style of fighting. He will willingly give up takedowns because he wants to be in positions on the ground where he can mix it up with his opponent and, get into tons of scrambles and hopefully put his opponent in some bad positions. He'd much rather get taken down and hit a reversal in a scramble than try and take his opponent down and establish a dominant position. And because Elliott is so chaotic and he's always looking to just work and make his opponent work, he doesn't have the best control either, because he's always fishing for submissions as opposed to just chilling and racking up some control time. And, that might let Askarov off the hook a little bit, because if Askarov is really weak off his back, but, we see Elliott constantly hunting for these long shot submissions, it might not matter because Askarov might be able to get himself out of trouble in scrambles while defending submissions and getting his back off the canvas. But on the ground, if I'm just assessing both these guys based on their recent fights, I would say that Elliott has got quite a big advantage on the ground. I'm just not impressed by Askarov's grappling at all, and I think Elliott is quite a significantly more skilled grappler actually. I'm just totally not impressed with Askarov. I mean, Elliott is much better in the scramble than Brandon Moreno, and Moreno pretty much handled Askarov on the ground for the majority of that fight. You know, Askarov didn't really cause Moreno too many problems. Standing up is where it gets a lot worse for Elliott, right? Elliott has got this chaotic, messy, ugly, herky-jerky style, you know, poor striking defense, turns his back to his opponent a lot, very, very sloppy striking technique. He is definitely there to be hit, and it's difficult for me to gauge how much of a chance Askarov has got of exploiting Elliott's poor striking, because obviously the Moreno versus Askarov fight had a little bit of striking in it, but the first round and the third round were predominantly grappling based contests, and to be honest, a good chunk of the second round was as well. So at the moment, I'm kind of torn because I'm only looking to put my money in strong positions, and based on the fights that I've watched, there's no way I'd bet Askarov, because if we look at the odds, currently around about a 1.70 favourite, which is minus 143 for an implied probability of 59%. I mean, the bet Askarov, you've got to give him at least sort of like a 63-64% chance of winning. If we take a look at the odds on Elliott is currently around about a 2.25 underdog, which is plus 125 for an implied probability of 44%. Which is very tempting based on what I've seen, because, you know, from what I've seen, I actually favour Elliott here. But the problem is, if he is fighting injured, if he is turning up for a paycheck, because he's only fought once in the last 2 years and he's got a daughter to support, it's tough, man. And you can see James Lynch totally wasn't interested in betting Elliott. Another thing that concerns me here is, you know, like many of you guys have said in the live chat, was Askarov's debut. Guys rarely performed their full potential in their debut, and I'm sure with the guys that Askarov's training with every day under Mark Henry, he's going to be making big improvements from fight to fight. So you'd expect him to look a hell of a lot better this weekend against Elliott than he has done in the past. Of course, he is only 27 years old. He is going to be making big improvements, man. In terms of size differences, looks like both guys are roughly the same size. Elliott 5'7", Askarov 5'6". Both guys have got a 67-inch reach. So enough of the chat really about these two boys. Let's get into watching some fight footage. But before I do that, boys, I'm just going to catch up on the comments. So if you've got any questions, boys, drop them in the live chat on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, wherever you're watching, and we'll get to them now. There's loads of comments to get through. We'll get through these, boys, and then we'll get into studying some fight footage, right? So what have we got? Let's scroll right back up to the top. Kamais Ukin saying, I like Elliott as long as he doesn't randomly get subbed like he tends to recently. Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely, from what I've seen, I favour Elliott here. Paul Berry, buzzing to see you back. Oh, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot, dude. Stephen Blade saying, Elliott has always done well with wrestlers. Let's take a look, man. Yeah, submitted Mark De La Rosa, who's a wrestler. You know, beat Smoker. Did very well against Johnson. Won the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. Struggled obviously against some wrestlers here. Went on a 3-fight losing streak, but beasts, man. Zach Makovsky, I think he was an NCAA Division 1 level wrestler. Benavidez, nightmare of a grappler. Alec Bagatinov's no joke, no shame in losing to those guys, man. Hunkler saying Askarov sub round 1. Michaelis Karazidis saying Askarov is going to win. Hiltz is saying it sounds like he thinks Elliott doesn't want the info out there. So Alex Leon is saying that he said he has a sustained neck and back injury that he's going to fight with. Interesting, man. Where did he say that, man? I would love to see that. And that's maybe one of the reasons why Elliott is so stiff. You know, Elliott is a grappler, but you'll rarely see him shooting, deep double leg takedowns on his opponent. He's way more stiff, way more herky-jerky. And maybe that's why, man, 'cause he's dealing with some long-term neck and back injuries that really makes it difficult for him to change levels and get in deep on his opponent's hips. Doja Ja has said, admit that you are going to bet Pettis, but very little money because the odds are awesome. No, mate, quite the opposite, dude. I'm hoping the odds improve on Ferreira because I want to bet Ferreira. So Alex Leon saying Tim Elliott stated it in an interview recently. He's kept it quiet because he didn't want them to pull him from the fight. And that's a bit concerning. So what Alex Leon is saying is that he's tried to cover up his neck and back injury. So he doesn't want the UFC to pull him, which indicates to me that he doesn't want to get pulled because he needs the money. A lot of people are liking Yusuf in this fight. Hell of a lot of people are liking Yusuf. I do want to find another bet for this card, man. So far I've only got Askarov, but it would be nice to build on that. And someone on Twitch whose username I can't say because I will definitely say it wrong and get into trouble, said, I like the JJ Aldrich bet, especially if money keeps coming in on Marzo. Yeah, I haven't researched that fight yet, man, but Aldrich's name's jumping out at me as well for sure. Cam Lice is saying, in terms of this fight, I'm very high on Askarov. Let me know why, dude. Let me know why. I'm not seeing it personally. Stephen Blade saying he's 60-40 in favour of Elliott. Vladislav Dikasarov is saying, didn't Sadiq Yusuf get stunned in his last fight against, who was it? It was against Gabriel Benitez, right? And yeah, he did, mate. I think he did get dinged. I think he got dropped or wobbled. Dylan Red has said, who do you guys think will win, Gadea or Grasso? I researched that fight earlier on, man. I do lean Gadea, but I think it's got split decision written all over it, man. It is chaos. Absolute chaos. Both girls have got huge holes that the other can exploit. I'll go into more detail about that in our live stream on Saturday. If we hit 500 likes on that Connor video, which I think we will, we usually do, should have no problem hitting that. Cam Lace is saying, I'm on the Yusuf hype train, love the minus 130 odds. Yeah, I do. Yusuf is another name jumping out at me, man. I think I'm going to have to get into that fight after we're done here. Going to have to go live stream now, and I'm tired, but we got to get on it, man, before the odds change too much more than they already have. Stephen Blade saying Askarov didn't look good, he was held down easily. Yeah, that pretty much sums up how I feel. That Moreno fight was not good, man. Not good. Not good at all. Tough to be harsh on him in his debut, but then he was still very accepting of being on the bottom, you know? So Alex Leon is saying Askarov is exactly what he claims, a very strong grappler, but Elliott is too tactile and aggressive, has caused him losses. But I think he's more well-rounded than Moreno, and I believe Moreno won. That's a good point, man. I actually did score the fight for Moreno, you know? Lidosis is saying Askarov's odds have been steamed. I thought he got incredibly lucky against Moreno to get that draw. It hurts because we had a big live bet on Moreno at big dog odds. Yeah, I know, man. Fuck me. I was already counting the money, man. Moreno had home advantage and everything. He knocked Askarov down with a head kick in round 2. Won round 3 clear. I don't know what the judges were seeing there, man. That was a bad one. Real bad decision. Moreno won clear. Should we have a look how the MMA media saw it? Let's have a look. I'm guessing the vast majority of people scored the fight for Moreno. He got absolutely robbed of a win bonus. Let's see. Yeah, look at that, boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 of the 13 MMA media people scoring this fight scored it for Moreno. And Lee Dosis, he's one of my elite members. He live bets me every single week. And we did have a huge live bet on Moreno in this fight. And the judges fucking stole it from us, man. Wasn't the end of the world because the fight got scored a draw. So obviously you get your money back on a draw, but still very annoying not to get the profit. I'm actually getting angry over that. I'm pretty salty, you know. Tasmanian 187 is saying, I like the over 1.5 rounds for Conor versus Cowboy at 1.9. What do you think? I don't like the over, Taz. I will tell you why, dude. I think if the fight lasts longer than 7.5 minutes, I think Cerrone will win. So if you're interested in betting the over 1.5 rounds on the Conor versus Cowboy fight, I would just bet Cerrone because it's better odds. So Cerrone, you can get him at like 3.60, 3.70, whereas like you said, the over's only 1.9. So I like a straight bet on Cerrone more, because after 7 or 8 minutes, Conor's KO power just isn't there anymore. And I think into the 3rd, 4th and 5th rounds, Cerrone will just outwork him and run away with the fight. Dylan Red has said, Allsop, who do you think is good to put in parlays? No one on this card, man, really. Haven't found any really, really safe bets, man. It is a tricky one. Not the best card for betting anyway. Lidos is saying the Yusuf is open to that straight. In fact, I'll stop talking about the Yusuf fight because I haven't researched it yet. We'll get into that one on Saturday, boys, in the live stream on Saturday. Alright, boys. Tell you what, let's get into some fight research, right? Let's get into the fights. Okay, what we are going to do is watch Askarov's fight against Razul Albaskanov from May 2018. So about 18 months ago now. Remember, Askarov has been training with Mark Henry during that time. So Askarov, here he is. He is the dude in the red shorts. Let's see what he brings to the table here. And if he looks any different to how he looked against Brandon Moreno, what we really want to see is a good bit of striking from him, right? Because we know a decent amount of what grappling he brings to the table. Weak off his back, gives up position a lot. But Elliott, very, very sloppy striking, poor striking defense. Beautiful deep double leg takedown entry there from his opponent, whose name I have already forgotten. Let's just call him Razul. So very, very nice. So remember we said in the Moreno fight, particularly in that 3rd round, Askarov was very, very weak off his back. Just accepted being on the bottom. Didn't really make any attempt to work his way back to his feet. Let's see if Askarov shows some urgency here and tries to pop back up to his feet quickly. He kind of starts working towards that Kimura. And now that's actually pretty disappointing. As he was working towards the Kimura, created a little bit of space for himself to pop back up to his feet. But instead of taking the opportunity to pop back up to his feet, he actually kept a hold of the Kimura and has now enabled his opponent to fully establish this dominant position from side control. And he's still fishing for this long shot Kimura, which he's never going to get. So another huge red flag really for Askarov on the ground. That's poor decision making. Could have used that Kimura there to create that space to pop back up to his feet. And even now, when it's quite clear that he isn't going to get near this Kimura, he's still fishing for it, exerting lots of energy on this long shot submission. You're not going to catch Tim Elliott in a Kimura like that. And instead of using that Kimura to create a scramble to get back up to his feet, he's now had to give up top position. And Razul was briefly in his guard there. But Askarov does a really good job of popping back up to his feet. He only briefly had to go to guard after that Kimura attempt, and now he's back up. Razul with a very nice back take there. Askarov recognises the threat and rolls to his back to prevent his back from being taken, and he's back to full guard. So again, in this position against Brandon Moreno, Askarov looked very weak. He's a little bit more active off his back in this fight, so it'll be interesting to see how much control time Razul can rack up here. But as you can see very early on, we're only 2 minutes into this first round, and there are red flags with Askarov. You know, if you're banking on Askarov being able to out-grapple Elliott, I would have to disagree with you on quite a strong level. I think that on the ground, Elliott has got some quite big advantages, actually. But then we have to question, is he showing up healthy? Are the issues he's got in his personal life starting to have a big impact on his career? And how much of these weaknesses has Mark Henry and the guys in New York been able to tighten up? But at the moment, Askarov looking pretty bad, really, pretty bad, pretty weak off his back. I mean, here he's in a good position to stand up, right? He's got his back relatively tight to the cage. All he's got to do is, there you see he's putting his feet on the hips. All he's got to do, put his feet on the hips of Razul, you know, push off the hips to get his back tighter to the cage, clear his legs and start to use the cage to wall walk. But really, you know, he's been in this position for 30-40 seconds now, hasn't really done that, and Razul actually gave him enough space to work his way back to his feet, and wow, I mean, yeah, gives up another very easy takedown. Razul straight back into top position, and Askarov go into this closed guard. So Askarov very, very disappointing here. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Not looking good. And you can see that Askarov's takedown defense looking pretty dreadful here in this first round. I mean, he's been able to use that armbar attempt to create a scramble to end up in top position, but for the most part in this round, he struggled badly. Looked pretty weak off his back. And let me know how you're feeling about. This fight, boys, based on what we're seeing in this first round here from Askarov. Let me know, boys, how you're feeling about this one. Elliott is getting super tempting. Are there any... I'm just going to hit pause a sec. Are there any other interviews from this guy? What's this? So Tim Elliott talks UFC 246 bout with Askar Askarov, predicts Joseph Benavidez versus Davison Figueiredo. Let's watch this. Sorry, boys. I actually just really want to watch this interview to hear what he says, because Askarov's looking pretty bad right now, to be honest. Pretty damn bad, and I want to try and gauge what version of Elliott we're going to see on Saturday night. So let's hit play here and see what we get.
Return didn't go your way. Fought a really tough guy in Davison Figueiredo. Like, what went wrong in that fight for you?
Man, honestly, everything was going really good in that fight. It's a fight that I wanted. I asked for the fight. My weight cut was good. The camp was good. I felt really good in the fight. He hit me with a jab. And when he hit me with the jab, my mouthpiece kind of went to the back of my throat. And I panicked a little bit, and I took a panic leg shot so that I could fix my mouthpiece. and as soon as I shot, he slapped on a guillotine. So the guillotine was tight, but more than anything, I was panicking. I thought I was going to choke to death on my mouthpiece. So I kind of had a panic tap, and not taking anything away from Davison. He won that fight, but honestly, I feel like I win that fight 9 out of 10 times. So it didn't happen the way I wanted, but I feel like I didn't lose much in that fight.
Now seeing him fight for the title, like, does that hurt the loss even more? That could have been you. You could have been right there for the title shot.
No, I knew that was the case. I knew Cejudo wasn't going to come back down. I knew Joseph Benavidez, he should be the guy that's in line for it. So I know a win with Davison would have put me in that position. So, no, I expected that to happen. I knew it was going to happen, and, that's the way it should be happening. Joe B deserves to get this shot. I actually just trained with him this morning. We sparred together this morning.
Is Benavidez someone you've always trained with, or is this new?
Since I moved to Las Vegas, me and him have been together. I moved up here to train with Robert Fallis, and I have the UFC PIs. As soon as I got here, I was training here, but I've been training with him for a while since after the Ultimate Fighter. I pretty much sought him out and tried to train near or around him as much as possible.
You guys have fought each other. Like, is that and he's obviously one of the best flyweights in the world. Like, how important is that in your training camp, being able to train with him?
Oh man, it's the best. And yeah, we fought. He beat me. Then I was his first pick on the Ultimate Fighter. He coached me to win the Ultimate Fighter. Coached me all the way up for a UFC world title. Now we together. And so, for me, it would be picture perfect if I could get a fight him for the world title. It would just be, that's the kind of shit they make movies about. And, we're both the kind of guys that it's all business. And all it would mean if we were to fight each other was that our team and our training is going right. So, that's the goal right now.
You're fighting Askarov. He's obviously coming off a draw in his UFC debut. He's a tough guy. What do you know about him?
Honestly, I don't know much. I know he's he kind of takes an ugly shot. He's real clingy. He doesn't want to strike much. Good submissions, good grappler. Really sneaky off his back. But I don't know too much about him, and I didn't watch very much tape. I just I let my coaches do that. And I did watch the Brandon Moreno fight because I trained with him some, and he's my friend. I thought Brandon Moreno won that fight, but it was a really good fight, and he's a tough opponent.
This fight, you're obviously coming off the loss. How important is this fight to win for you?
Oh, man, this is everything. A loss here, I could be looking at getting cut again. So this is my most important fight right now. I have to win this one in order to keep in the promotion. So, I'm kind of put into a corner right now. But I like that. I've been there before. I like these high-pressure situations. When shit's going smooth, I don't fight as well. But when shit's kind of not going right, I tend to overcome. So this whole camp, I've kind of embraced that. I was in a car accident. I got hit-and-run car accident. I took a little injury from that. Me, my daughter, my girlfriend, Gina Mazzani, we all got, we were bad sick for a week. So all that negative stuff just motivates me and makes me feel good. So I'm feeling ready to go.
It sounds like you've had a bit of a hectic camp, though, but when you fought pretty recently, just in October, did you expect to be fighting this soon in January?
I knew I wanted to get a quick turnaround. Ideally, I was hoping to win that fight and then to get a fight my friend and teammate Joe B. That was what we were hoping for. That's what we were training for. So then a loss here, I knew right away I was going to get a quick turnaround if I lost, as long as I didn't take any damage. So I was surprised that I got the fight that I want. I actually asked for the Figueiredo fight, and I asked for this fight, and I got them both. So it feels good for me to be able to go out and just be like, hey, I want to fight this guy. And the UFC's like, yeah, no problem, because they know I'm going to come, show up, and make weight and put on a good show.
What drew you to ask for Askarov?
Just after watching him and Brandon Moreno, out of the two, I would just rather fight Askar. Brandon seems more dangerous. Plus, he's my buddy. So Askar was an obvious choice. The fight I really wanted was Kai Kara France, but I knew I wasn't going to get that fight. So Askar was just the next logical choice. He's 11-0. He's ranked. So I want to beat those guys. I want to get the good wins out of the way now, so I can get that title shot.
The flyweight division, it's obviously starting to move along now that you have Benavidez versus Figueiredo for the title. So obviously you come off the losses, win is huge, but division wise and ranking wise, how big is this? How big would a win be for you to get right up there for the next title shot?
mean, it's huge, but like right now for all the guys, this is the best time ever to be a flyweight. Like, there's more noise right now than ever. Like, there's true flyweights fighting for the flyweight belt. The guy that's been in the game forever, and Joe B. So like, a win here, I feel like if I win this and I can win another smart fight, like there's no reason why I can't be in the title contention talk again.
You're on this card, obviously McGregor, Cerrone. McGregor cards always get a lot of eyeballs on it. Like, what's it gonna be like fighting on a card headlined by McGregor?
I mean, I've fought on cards like this before, so nothing new. The goal stays the same. The good thing is I've been on these cards before. I've fought with the best, most popular guys. I fought on pay-per-view cards before, so I feel like if anything, it works more to my advantage. He's going to be coming here to Las Vegas, where I live, fighting in the desert. He's coming into my house, so my confidence is at an all-time high.
Yeah, like just looking at record, like you fought on like 167 with St. Pierre in Vegas. Like you fought on John Jones, Glover. Like you fought on a lot of these big cards in Vegas. Like, do you think that's an advantage you have over Askar, that he hasn't fought on any of these big U.S. cards, that he won't really know what the crowd and what the atmosphere is going to be like?
I do. I mean, it can't hurt. I'm sure he's fought in front of some big, crowds over there in Russia, but that's different here. Like the Vegas fans are loud. The stadium is loud. Like it's the pinnacle of the sport. So I know he's never been on that stage because he hasn't been around, and I have been there. So it's definitely going to be to my advantage.
You what's it like being able to fight in Vegas? Obviously, you train there. You don't have to travel anywhere to fight. Like, how much better will that make fight week for you?
Man, it's a thing for if you have a kid, man. It sucks because I have to drag her around with me, in and out of hotels and stuff. So here, my kid can just kind of stay at the house, and she's got friends and family here that if I need any help, like it's just so much easier. And not having to get on an airplane, cutting weight, and doing all that. It's mentally it helps me a lot.
You were coming off that knee injury where you had you tore basically everything in your knee. Like, was that a worry for you when you entered that Figueroa fight, that you didn't really know how your knee was going to hold up?
Man, before I had the fight, I was worried about it, but up until the fight, man, my knee was the only thing that wasn't giving me problems really. The rest of my body was kind of tired from not training for a year, but my knee feels brand new. Like, no problems with the knee. It's the best part of my body right now, so...
You've been in the UFC for quite a while. Like, you were in it back in, 2012. Like, you made your original debut. And then you were caught. The flyweight had that big flyweight purge. Like, what do you make of the state of the flyweight division now? Because a lot of people, after DJ left, they didn't think the division was going to hang on. Then when Cejudo moved up, everyone thought, the flyweight's going to get cut. Now it seems like the UFC's interested in the flyweights once again. They're signing more flyweights. Like, what are your thoughts on the state of the division?
Right now, it's the best. Like I said, it's the best time to be a flyweight. Like there's more backing. There's more people paying attention to it right now because of the whole Cejudo thing. And I don't think Cejudo leaving really hurts it, especially because Cejudo will leave until he can't win at 35 anymore, and then he'll probably come back down and he'll stir the division up all over again. But I think just the recognition, people, even the negative press, it was still people getting eyes on the division, and whether they hate the flyweights or they love the flyweights, the ticket sells the same. So I feel like right now is a good time to be a flyweight, and there's a lot of good guys that have been re-signed, and the fights have been amazing at the division right now, and we're about to have a true flyweight test and a new world champion. So I'm excited. I think the division is wide open right now for the flyweights.
Are you one of those people that agree with Cejudo that he saved the flyweight division?
I mean, he brought some attention to it, but yeah, all those guys have helped. Negative or and the negative press coming my way. So
this fight playing out between you and Askar.
It's hard to say. I know he's going to be really anxious to try to get a takedown. I'm usually a guy that likes to go forward and get all wild, but I feel like for this fight, I need to get on my bicycle and do some backpedaling and really work my movement and athleticism. Usually in this division, I'm not the most athletic guy, and I'm not the faster guy, but I feel like in this fight, I'm the more athletic guy, and I am the faster guy. So my plan is just to try to out-athlete him, try to be the better athlete, and just be out of his way.
Will Benavidez be in your corner, or are you guys not going to corner each other?
No, we just train together. He wouldn't want me in his corner.
After this fight, like, what's the goal for 2020? So you obviously have that quick fight. Is the goal obviously help Benavidez win the title? And then what's the rest of your year look like in your ideal scenario?
Ideally, I win this fight. I get a quick turnaround, get another win, and then kind of just see where the division's at. But the goal is to try to get a fight Joe. Joe's gonna knock Figueiredo out. I have no question in that. So I think Joe's gonna be the champ, and I'm gonna keep training with him and keep learning from him and trying to steal his shit until I can be there with him. Or if I can't ever get there, then I'll just be a.
Yeah, what's it like for you? Because obviously you are a teammate with Joe. Joe's a guy that everyone thinks.
So like I think it's awesome. I think Davidson's kind of a big puncher and kind of slow, and Joe's a fast little shit. And he's got hands, so I feel like it's a good fight for him and well deserved. Like he stayed in it long enough, and he's finally getting some money back in his.
Boys, just for the end of this interview, I'm going to take a quick break, 1 minute while this interview runs down. I'll be back in a sec.
Investment into the division.
A lot of trading partners don't really want to fight each other. Why are you and Joe so keen on fighting each other?
I don't know if he's keen on fighting me, and I'm only keen on fighting him because he's the best. Like right now, he's the best. He's going to be the champ, and like I want to fight the best guys, and especially us being teammates, man. Like I moved up here to train with his coach Robert Follis. The coach ended up killing himself. Me and him already fought each other once, so if we could fight each other for a title, I feel it would be doing our coach, who I moved up here to train with, like we would be doing him a really good service and a really good honor for that night.
All right, well, Tim, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, anytime. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day.
All right, boys, we are back. Tim Elliott. I was just, while the interview was going on there, just skimming through a few things, and got to be careful with guys like Tim Elliott, because Tim Elliott is the kind of guy that cost me money in 2019. Close to even money. Seemingly has a really good chance of winning a fight, but there seems to be some issues with him, right? I mean, if we look at his record, it's been, over, almost 3 years since we saw him go the distance in a really competitive fight, all the way back to when he fought Louis Smoker in April 2017. Did tap quite quickly to Davison Figueiredo. He said that his mouthpiece was in his mouth, choking him. Looked alright against De La Rosa, but it was 2 years ago. I mean, really, with this fight only lasting 3 minutes, Elliott is coming into this fight on a 2-year layoff. Since then, he's had a knee injury. He's talking about back injuries. He has obviously moved out to Vegas. Been in a car accident. There's a lot going on with this guy, man. There is a lot going on with Elliott. But let's carry on with this second round of this Askarov against Rasul fight. In the first round, Askarov not looking good at all. But let's see if he does a little bit better in this second round. Alright, here we go. And Askarov switching stances here at the beginning of the second round. Now, it was a pretty dominant first round for Rasul, and at some point in this round he ends up losing this fight. So let's see how this goes south for him. Maybe looking a little bit tired here. Askarov able to back Rasul up quite easily. And of course, you would expect, even with Elliott's herky-jerky, unorthodox style of striking, just by the way Askarov moves, you'd expect him to have a decent striking advantage. And in this position there, if we just look at this position, so we talk about what a coach like Mark Henry brings to the table. Well, Mark Henry takes these rough diamonds and he polishes them and turns them into something special. And Askarov has just shown us something there in that split second, which could be a potential easy path to victory for him, because you'd guess Askarov's got a pretty big advantage when it comes to striking. Like I say, Elliott's got this messy, sloppy, herky-jerky style. And in this early on in this second round, we see Rasul shoot a takedown in a second. We're going to show you. And Askarov does a great job of sprawling out of it. Watch as Rasul changes levels on the takedown. Askarov sprawls out of it and immediately goes to dig in for double underhooks, which means Rasul can't get anywhere near the takedown and he goes straight into half guard. Now, in this position, Askarov will be in danger against Elliott because Elliott is so good at creating these scrambles, particularly off his back and winding up in top position, that if Askarov starts to mix it up on the ground with Elliott, I think he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble. But Mark Henry is very, very good at giving these young fighters good strategies, good game plans to fight much smarter, man. And if Askarov comes into this fight, you know, uses his wrestling in reverse, you know, he's showing very, very good takedown defense here, strong hips, he's clearing his legs, Rasul can't get anywhere near his hips here. If he does this against Elliott, uses his wrestling in reverse to keep the fight standing and just win a kickboxing match, you know, Askarov's probably going to stand a pretty good chance here. Locks in a very, very nice choke here. And is this how the fight ends? Cinching it up. Is Rasul going to be forced to tap? Looks deep. Not fully under the chin. It's not fully under the chin. Looking to make an adjustment now. Can't see from this camera angle whether it's under the chin now. It looks like it is getting there. That is under the chin. Very nice adjustment from Askarov. So the choke wasn't under the chin. Askarov made a very nice announcement. And this is a little bit, a nice adjustment. This is a little bit scary, right? Because I hate the wiki cap fight. But you look at Tim Elliott's record, submitted by guillotine there. You know, Ben Wynn is a kickboxer. To get submitted by rear naked choke against a guy like Ben Wynn is not good. And obviously, no shame in being submitted to Makovsky, but hasn't fought a very high level of grapplers in between the time that he was submitted by Figueiredo and Wynn. Obviously going the distance with Demetrius Johnson, super impressive, but it was 3 years ago. So not sure how much that fight is relevant anymore. Let's watch some more footage on Askarov. Looked very, very poor in round 1 against Rasul, but made some much better decisions in round 2, using his grappling in reverse to put Rasul in a terrible position and then get that submission in round 2. Now let's watch the next fight. This is against Anthony Leone from April 2017. So this was a long time ago, almost 3 years ago now. So with Askarov now training with Mark Henry, you would have to anticipate that he's made big improvements since this fight. So I think Askarov's going to be in the blue shorts here. Let's see what he brings to the table. Joseph Shoddy saying that he is fading Askarov and Elliott after this video. Thanks a lot for watching, dude. Thanks a lot for watching, mate. What will we see from Askarov here? Hopefully a little bit more of his striking. He's southpaw here. I think this guy he's fighting's got a great record, right? Oh, this is Tome. Hang on. What is going on? We're playing the wrong fight, boys. We are playing the wrong fight. This is the fight that we want to watch. Against Anthony Leone. No, Anthony Leone hasn't got a good record. Tome does. 37-5. This is not the fight you want to watch. This is the one that we want to watch. There we go. Lord Locust is saying, do you do this for all pay-per-views? So I live stream. So the way it works, man, I should clarify how this works, right? So basically, I have a live stream section on my website, right? So I live stream my research for all smaller promotions like Bellator, PFL, KSW. I live stream my research for all those promotions on my website because liquidity is just too low to do it on YouTube. Because if we find a bet on a PFL or a KSW event in a live stream, while like 100 people are watching. As soon as we find it, everyone's just going to go out, bet them, steam the odds, and then, you know what I mean, I don't get a chance to bet them at those odds. Do you know what I'm saying? So I live stream my research for smaller promotions, do a smaller number of people here. Now, on UFC cards, I live stream my research for every single fight, but the type of fight depends on whether I do it on YouTube and Twitch or whether I do it on my website. If there's copyright protected content, which there is on the majority of these fights on this card, because they're all on, you know, behind the paywall on UFC Fight Pass, then I live stream my research for them through the website. I don't show footage because, again, I don't want to get sued by the UFC, but we do it fight companion style, where I'll have a countdown clock, and you can kind of sync up while you're watching on Fight Pass with my countdown clock. If you don't watch the live streams live as they happen, they then get posted in my live stream archive. We can see for UFC 246, we have got a 2-hour, 20-minute long video on Pettis versus Ferreira, 2-hour, 10-minute long video on Olenek Green, 3.5-hour video on Skelly Dawson, 4-hour live stream on McGregor Cerrone, and I'm going to be posting a 3-hour live stream for the Gadea versus Grasso fight after this live stream is done. And the way it basically works is, if there's a fight like Elliott versus Askarov, where there's actual fight footage I can use from other promotions, so in this case ACB, then I will live stream my research for these kind of fights on Twitch, Mixer and YouTube. Otherwise, all the live stream research is done on my website. So if we look ahead to next week's card, the fights I'll probably be live researching on YouTube, Twitch and Mixer next week. We'll probably do the Herbert Burns versus Nate Landwehr fight, because these two boys are making their UFC debuts, so there'll be a bunch of footage available on them that we can use. We'll probably be doing the same for Brett Johns against Tony Gravely, because there probably is a decent amount of footage outside the UFC on Gravely, decent amount of recent footage. Probably do Jamal Hill against Darko Stosic as well. And yeah, that's about it. So next week we'll probably do 1, 2, 3 fights in this format on YouTube, Mixer and Twitch, and then I'll live stream the rest of my research on my website, man. So that's pretty much how it goes. Yeah, fight companion style. And the reason why I don't do those live streams on my website, the reason why I don't do the fight companion style live streams for all these fights live on Twitch and YouTube is basically because people don't generally like long form content. So I don't like to, like, if I was putting out 12 3-hour long breakdown videos every week, like 35 hours of content, like, my YouTube channel would die, because the metrics on it, like the views, the watch duration, all that kind of thing, it would just die because no one would watch it. That's why I don't put that content out on YouTube and stuff. It's only for my website, but I do try and get a few out for every event for sure. So that is how it works, man. I know it's a bit confusing. I'm a confusing guy, I can't help it, but that's how it's working at the moment. Yeah, if I put like 3-4 hour long breakdown videos for just one fight onto YouTube, it would honestly destroy my channel, boys. I just wouldn't get ranked by YouTube anymore, because like all the metrics on the views, the watch time and everything, it would be really bad, because only a small percentage of people that subscribe to me would want to watch videos like that. Nobody got the time to watch a 3-hour long breakdown video, right? I get it, but I live stream it anyway, because if you are bored one day, if you're in work, you can just jump on my website and you can listen to me ramble on about these fights while you're doing work, or while you're driving around, or whatever. So here we go. This is a fight from April 2017. Askarov against Anthony Leone. And Askarov is in the red gloves. Leone is in the blue gloves. But remember, this fight was almost 2 years ago now. So Askarov, training with Mark Henry, Nick Catone out in New York, likely to have made big improvements since then. Yeah, Bab329 is saying 3.5 hours for Dawson and Kelly, and it got cancelled. It's brutal, man. It is brutal. We went deep on that fight. I was initially thinking Dawson might be a good bet, but it turned out I was seriously considering a bet on Skelly. But it looks like Dawson's in a little bit of trouble with USADA. He got popped for steroids, right? He's got to go before USADA sometime this month. Very nice inside leg kicks from Askarov here. It's something we didn't really see too much from him in the Moreno fight or the last fight that we watched on him against Razul. Very nice outside leg kick. And it's quite clear to me, just from the way that Askarov moves, beautiful catch of the kick there. He's fighting southpaw here. Beautiful inside leg kick again. And it's quite clear to me Askarov has a pretty big advantage when it comes to striking. And you think about what Mark Henry brings to the table as a coach. You know, Claudia Gadelha has spoken about it this week, where, you know, Mark Henry's all about strategy, all about game planning. And you think if he's looking at a guy like Elliott, he can spot the same weaknesses as us. He knows what Askarov brings to the table. He's going to be aware of Askarov's weaknesses as well. You know, what strategy, what game plan are they going to be coming into this fight with to address Askarov's weaknesses, to exploit Elliott's weaknesses? Are they going to be looking for Askarov to use his grappling in reverse, to treat the ground like lava, to try and win a kickboxing match? But again, the big concern with Askarov, a glaring hole in his skill set, is that he's very weak off his back. He's given up an easy takedown here. And again, you know, rather than looking to explode back to his feet, he's just going to full guard and just being really accepting of this bottom position. But these are areas the fighters can improve, right? If, you know, you think about it, you know, Askarov train at Nick Catone's gym, train with some high-level grapplers every day like Marlon Moraes, Eddie Alvarez, you know, Sahara Eubanks, Claudia Gadelha, the list goes on and on and on. Zabit Magomed Sharapov. You know, he might be really weak off his back and spend a lot of time on his back, not because he's unable to work his way back to his feet, but simply because he might just not have had the brain to understand that you're in a losing position. And maybe Mark Henry can get in his head and say to him, you know, you can't spend that long on your back. You're in a losing position. You need to show more urgency to work your way back to your feet. These are little tiny issues which Askarov could tighten up in a really short space of time. Because he doesn't look completely helpless on his back. He's a decent grappler. Maybe he just wants to be there. Maybe he is so confident in his submission game that he wants to be on his back, so he hopes to catch his opponent in a submission. Maybe it's just a lack of experience. And maybe someone like Mark Henry can get in his head and actually tell him to tighten it up. Because there, we actually see great takedown defense from him. Leon shoots a very, very nice deep double leg takedown. Askarov did a great job of clearing his legs and digging that right underhook in play. And in the end, Leon got nowhere near that takedown, which was very nice. And here, Askarov looking pretty heavy from top position, right? Doing a good job of not allowing Leon to get anywhere near his legs. Again, look how he clears his legs here, beautifully sprawling out of this position to prevent Leon from getting in deep on his legs. And now that Leon is in on a single leg, let's see how Askarov deals with this. Deals with it in the wrong way, to be honest. Instead of trying to throw strikes there, he should be battling for underhooks, but he gets away with it, reverses position, puts Leon's back against the cage, and now looking to just wear on Leon in the clinch. 25 seconds left to go in the round. So again, clear glaring weaknesses from Askarov, but not necessarily weaknesses that are based on a skill deficiency. Possibly just a fight IQ deficiency. Can Mark Henry coach him out of this? Can Mark Henry coach him out of spending too much time on his back? Because when he's actually focused on defending takedowns, he does a pretty good fucking job of it, actually. So, boys, let me know what you're thinking about this fight. It's a complicated one, right? It is a complicated one. Askarov, I feel like Askarov has got the skills to do very well. It's just the fact that he's so accepting of being on the bottom is a huge concern for me. We've seen it in the last 3 fights we've watched from him. We saw it in the first round of his fight against Razul. He did it against Brandon Moreno. He's done it here in round 1 against Leone as well. Borna Bears saying pass. It's tough, man. It is tough. I feel like this is one of those fights where if the odds were to continue to improve on Elliott, I would take a shot on him. If he improved to like 2.40, 2.5 territory, if you think he was 2.50, implied probability of 40%, I think it's fair to cap this as a close to 50-50, right? What do you think, boys? The difficult thing is obviously we can't measure how much Askarov has improved under Mark Henry. And, from a technical point of view, he looks excellent, right? We know Elliott is susceptible to chokes. Askarov looks dangerous with chokes. We know Askarov's got a pretty big advantage when it comes to striking. Really, Askarov's only weakness is that he's very weak off his back. But obviously, Elliott is nasty on the ground. But the real question becomes, is Askarov weak off his back, or is he choosing to spend too much time on his back? And with the right coaching, can he actually get out of that bad habit? Here we see him fishing for a choke. No hooks in, but he's fishing to try and get that arm under the chin. Kelvin Gastelum style. Kelvin Gastelum likes to get the arm under the chin first before securing hooks. And wow. Nice, man. It's a very nice back take. 2 deep hooks in play. Obviously, he lost the hook on the left side. He's regained it now. But it was a very, very nice back take from Askarov. And when we see that Elliott, in one of his recent fights, obviously it was 2 years ago, but he's only fought 3 times in the last 2 years, so it is recent. In Elliott, one of his recent fights, and you see he gets submitted with a rear naked choke by Ben Wynn. When you see beautiful back takes like this, body triangle fully locked in, it is difficult to feel confident in Elliott. It really is, boys, because this is beautiful back control from Askarov. Body triangle locked in. Leone in a terrible position. Askarov chipping away at him. And we saw Askarov take Moreno's back as well, right? Obviously the difference is he gave up position. Moreno was able to explode into top position and control Askarov from top position. But at the same time, it was Askarov's UFC debut. He is only 26. He's going to be making big improvements from fight to fight. And Elliott is tricky in the scramble, but he is also susceptible to chokes. So this is a real tricky fight, man. A tricky one. Legoat is just asking us how long Askarov has been training with Mark Henry. I'm not sure, dude. We'll find out in a little bit. In fact, I will have a look while Askarov is in this position. See if he can maintain this back control here. But we will try and find out. Oh, he beautifully uses the back control to take mount here. Very, very nice transition from Askarov. I'm just going to try and find out on Instagram how long he's been training with Mark Henry. And again, does a great job of maintaining back control. Goes right to the body triangle. Very, very nice grappling control here from Askarov. And remember, this fight was 2 years ago. So he's likely to look a hell of a lot better here than he did back then. And I can see here, I don't know how long Askarov has been training with Mark Henry, but there is a picture here from December 2017 with him with Zabit Magomed Sharipov. So is this a situation where he's been Zabit's long-time training partner and he's come over with him? Trying to find the first picture that he posted at Mark Henry's gym. And Askarov's done a really good job of maintaining control here out the corner of my eye. He's kept that body triangle, adjusted a few times. Hasn't really come that close to being, reversed. The body triangle very, very tight in there. Switches sides to opposite sides, very nice. I'm trying to find the earliest picture of him with... All right, so it doesn't look like he trained with Mark Henry for his UFC debut against Brandon Moreno. So it actually looks like he only started. So this is the first. Interesting. So this is the first picture that I can find of him training in New York, and this is dated on Christmas Eve, the 24th of December 2019. So this would indicate that this is Askarov's first fight training under Mark Henry, because all the other fights are him at AKA Thailand and training, at Russian gyms. So it does look like this is going to be his first camp under Mark Henry. And Ricardo Almeida, Nick Catone, all those guys. Borna Bears asking if you can bet on a fight at the end by sub. You can on some betting sites, mate. You can on some betting sites. Don't know if they're listed here, but I know like Paddy Power will just let you bet the fight to end by submission. And I like where you're going with that. I do like your thinking on that, dude. Al MMA Predictions said thoughts on Holm versus Pennington. I haven't researched that fight yet, dude. I'm probably gonna get into it tomorrow, but we'll cover that in a live stream on Saturday. So round 3, Askarov's grappling looking much more solid in this fight. And there you can see Askarov dropping Leone with a very, very nice right hand. And Elliott is very susceptible to these kind of shots, right? Elliott doesn't have the best striking defense. Watching this fight now, I can start to see the reason why people do like Askarov in this fight. Like I say, I was very underwhelmed in his fight against Brandon Moreno, but here again he shows very, very nice hips to take top possession, end up in half guard. Very, very nice there. And you know what, boys, we don't need to watch anymore. Let's summarize on this one. We don't need to watch any more footage. We've seen everything that we need to see. So it's a tough one, man. It is a tough one. If we look at the odds on this fight, Askarov currently around about a 1.69 favourite, which is minus 145 for an implied probability of 59%. I really, really don't like Askarov at these odds, just because he spends way too much time on his back. He's way too accepting of being on the bottom, and Elliott is a decent grappler. Until, it's annoying because it's a huge red flag which makes it impossible to bet on Askarov at these odds. But at the same time, it's quite a small thing to fix. Like, you can tell he's a decent grappler. And for whatever reason in these past fights, he's been just too casual about being on his back. I mean, go watch his fight against Brandon Moreno. Moreno won this fight. Like, Askarov was very, very lucky to get away with being gifted a draw. And he lost this fight, in my opinion, largely because in that third round, he just laid on his back and didn't do anything. He was just trying to punch Moreno in the face off his back. And that is a huge concern because on one hand, you're thinking, now he's training with Mark Henry. That is a very easy mistake to correct. In showing more urgency to not be on his back, get into top position, work his way back to his feet. But on the other hand, some fighters just have terrible fight IQ throughout their whole career. Maybe Askarov's one of those guys. We don't know. He might be. So I can't bet Askarov because of how weak he is off his back, how much time he spends on his back. But there's issues with Elliott as well, right? Askarov's got a big advantage when it comes to striking. Askarov has got very nice back takes, nasty chokes, and obviously getting his back taken and being choked out is a potential weakness for Elliott. I mean, he was submitted by a kickboxer here. Tapped very quickly against Davison Figueiredo. And he's only fought one time in the last 2 years. So basically he's coming back off a 2-year layoff because this fight only lasted 3 minutes. He's moved his life out to Vegas. James Lynch said that he's dealing with an injury coming into this fight. So maybe he's just fighting for a paycheck. It's a bit of a mess of a fight. If you are asking me who I think the better bet on this card, on this fight is, I would say Elliott, only because of the odds. Literally only because of the odds. Only because I think it's more realistic to cap Elliott at having a 50% chance of winning because of how bad, Askarov looked on his back, how bad he looked against Moreno, than it is to cap Askar in the 65% territory, which you'd need to gain value on his odds. But it's one of those fights where I think that Askarov will win, but I actually think there's probably more value on Elliott, if that makes sense. Although I don't really like either guy. So let me know what you think, boys. If you're going to be betting this fight, let me know. If you've got any questions, drop them in the live chat on Mixer, Twitch or YouTube, boys. Drop them in. We've actually got 0 viewers on Mixer, boys. No one's watching on Mixer. What's going on? I thought Mixer was supposed to be the next big thing, man. Over Christmas I was talking to one of my nephews and he was saying that he live streams on Mixer every day. So I was like, man, if all the cool kids are on Mixer, I've got to go and get in on this Mixer action too. Literally 0 viewers. We got 150 people watching on Twitch and YouTube, so it is all good. But let me know what you think, boys. If you got any comments, got anything you want to say before we wrap this live stream up. I am actually going to probably drop another video tomorrow. And then if the Conor Cerrone video gets 500 likes, which it should easily get 500 likes. We will do a massive live stream on Saturday where I'll break down the remaining 5 fights on this card that I haven't talked about, which will be Aldrich Mazo, Philly Yusuf, Grasso Gadea, and Pennington Home. So if the video gets 500 likes, which it probably will, 4 fights we'll go through, and we'll also hunt for a decent prop bet on every fight as well. To hopefully make some cash this weekend. Oh, check it out! We got some people. We got some people on Mixer now, boys. Hypebot and Hooked on Chronic. Nice one, boys. The first 2 people to ever watch on Mixer. Nice one, boys. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Let's have a look at some of these comments. So Ghostface Killers is saying no shame in a draw to Moreno after the last performance of his. Boogie Lou saying it's an easy pass. Vladislav Dikasarov is laughing at me for live streaming on Mixer. Dude, apparently, bro, they're the next big thing. You know what I mean? It's Microsoft, right? Microsoft and Amazon going head to head. Amazon own Twitch, Microsoft own Mixer. They just signed Ninja, all that kind of stuff. Gotta take Mixer seriously. You know why I did decide to live stream on Mixer, boys? The reason why I thought the sign up for Mixer would be a good idea is towards the end of this year, obviously the new Xbox console is launching, and Microsoft have just bought Mixer, and with the hardware that's going to be within that Xbox, there's a good chance that you'll be able to live stream with like a face cam and everything natively just from the new Xbox device. So if they're only going to offer live streaming on Mixer through the new Xbox, and they're kind of going to make it very difficult to live stream on Twitch because that's owned by Amazon, Microsoft are going to push their own platform, that could lead to huge growth on Mixer. Mixer could literally kill Twitch. So I'm trying to like just branch out a little bit, man, and branch out a little bit, and yeah, that's the reason why. So what have we got? Stephen Blades is saying he's betting Yusuf and Mazo. Yeah, I'm looking forward to researching those fights. Dude, I haven't done either of them yet. Legote is saying, what do you guys think about McGregor round 1 or 2 for 2.50 plus 150? Yeah, do you know what, Legote, if it is a bet on McGregor to win in round 1 or 2 at 2.50, I like that, dude. I do. I really do. If we look at the implied probability on that, odds of 2.50, 1 plus 150 for an implied probability of 40%. I cap Conor at like 60 to 70% of getting a knockout in the first or second round. So I think there's value there, dude. I do like that, Legote, for sure. Defo, mate. And I agree with Stephen Blades. So Stephen Blades is saying if McGregor doesn't win in the first 2, he loses. I agree. And that's why I don't like betting. Someone, I think it was Tasmanian 187, said, what do you think about the over 1.5 rounds on this fight? I personally hate this bet because I feel that if the fight does go over 1.5 rounds, I feel Cerrone wins. So rather than betting the over 1.5 rounds at 1.77, why not just bet Cerrone at 3.90? You're getting a much better deal. That's just personally how I would see it. D Smith 3427 said New Moreno would beat the absolute shit out of Askarov. Nice one, dude. The Blueprint is asking for a Jake Paul versus a Neeson Gibb breakdown. Yeah, man, let's get on that. When is the fight? When is it? Let's squeeze a breakdown in for that fight. What is the date? Will it say here? The 30th of January. Yeah, man. We'll do a breakdown for this fight. We'll do one for the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight as well, man. We'll live stream them like this. We'll definitely get into that, dude. Definitely. Nora Mack is saying, what do you think of Conor to get a knockdown in round 1 at 2.10 on Sky Bet? I do like that, Nora Mack, mate. As long as they're not going to be fucking bastards with the what's the word I'm looking for? With like the kind of like the rules around that bet. So if the bet is for Conor to get a knockdown in round 1 at 2.10, do you still win the bet if Conor knocks Cerrone out? Does a knockout count as a knockdown as well? Or has he just got to knock him down and hope the Cerrone... Does the bet win if Conor knocks him out? If the answer is yes, I like it at 2.10. I really do. If it's just on a knockdown, I don't like it. Because I do think there's a good chance Conor knocks Cerrone out in the first. Vladislav saying Jake Paul wins. Anderson has zero technique of boxing. Yeah, man. Neeson Gibb looked bad, right? But the thing is, you know, KSI improved a lot with Vidal Riley. Maybe Gibb will as well. Boob and Vladislav telling me that Mixer's never going to blow up. The Blueprint is saying he bet Jake at plus 100 odds on Jake. Oh, the odds have moved to Jake as a favourite now. Good bet there, man, because like Gibb looked terrible when he fought Jay Swinglet. Absolutely terrible, man. Yeah, Legoat, you got absolutely screwed there, dude. So Legoat is saying that he bet 5 units on Moreno to win by decision against Askarov. Absolutely robbed, mate. Absolutely robbed. For anyone just coming into the live stream, such a bad decision, man. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. If we put it in, how the fuck can the judges get it so wrong? I live bet Moreno huge in this fight. And look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 MMA media guys out of 13 scored the fight for Moreno. But the 3 fucking dickheads sat by the cage whose job it is to score fights correctly couldn't fucking get it right. What a joke. So unlucky, man. Unlucky, Legoat. I feel really bad for you, dude. Norimak is saying could get a lot of views for that. A lot of views for what, dude? Let me know. Stephen Blades is asking, may I ask what site you use for live betting? So, dude, I can actually answer that question in a much better way. Let me just show you what I do. I'll give away my secrets here, boys. This is what I do. So shout out to PJJ, one of my elite members, for putting this list together. And boys, if you've watched my Cerrone Cowboy video, you will know that if you watched my Cerrone Cowboy video, at the beginning, I spoke for like 10-15 minutes on saying I've been working on all this stuff, right, in the last month. Instead of putting YouTube videos out, I've been building a better infrastructure on my website. And one of the things I'm currently working on is not quite ready yet, but you can kind of see the first stages of it here, very, very rough stage, is I'm trying to build a list on my website of all the different betting websites across the world for all the different countries that offer live betting on the UFC. And here they are, boys. So here they are. Every single website that you see on your screen right now offer live betting on the UFC. And what I tend to do is I'll rotate through them. So I live bet simultaneously on 5 to 7 of these betting sites. I find anything more than 7 and I can't manage it. Like, it's crazy because obviously you've got to lock your bets in so quickly that by the time you've locked your bet in on the first site, by the time you get to the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the odds are suspended or they've declined significantly. So I simultaneously live bet on 5 to 7 sites at any one time, and then when one of those sites gets shut down, I obviously withdraw the money and move on to another one of these sites. You can see plenty of these sites offer live betting on UFC, and I am working to put a list of all these sites on my website. Although it is worth noting, if you live in the United Kingdom, the Vivaro group has just pulled out of the UK. So they've got like a notice on their website to withdraw your money. They're closing down. They're leaving the UK, and I think you've got until like the 26th of January to withdraw your money from them. So those are all the sites I use, man. Bab329 has said, Chris, have you ever heard of Mr. Arkansas prediction wars 2020? Yes, I have, man. One of my members said that he included me in like a prediction tournament, which is really, really cool. I honestly wish I had time to do it, but genuinely, boys, like, my life is crazy, and on these weeks where we've got like 2 Bellators, 1 UFC, I'm just not going to have time to put picks together. I know I'm not going to have time to stay in the competition throughout the whole year, because in February and March we've got an event every single weekend, like 8 events in just 8 weeks, which is insane. It's like for this card, right, I've still got 4 fights to research. I take 3-4 hours researching every fight. I'm not going to have all my research done for this card by Saturday. I can't be focused on like prediction competitions and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't enter any pick competitions. I don't do Tapology. I like to focus on me. I like to focus on betting. So it's proper cool what he's doing. I just don't have time to get involved, which is a big shame, really. Beezy is saying, I've got a parlay on Ode Osborne, Alexa Kammer, Murray Screen, Sadiq Youssef, and Connor second round knockout. Very nice, dude. Let us know what odds that pays. D Smith is saying, I know Moreno is a southpaw. Go watch the Kai fight. He turned Super Saiyan. GTFI Gaming is saying McGregor is 3.75 to win in round 1 with Sky Bet. That seems big. That does seem generous, you know, dude. What are the odds everywhere else? Connor wins in round 1. Yeah, so you're getting good value there, mate. It looks like most sites have got Connor to win in round 1 at 3.0. So 3.75 on Sky Bet is pretty good. A few people in this live stream are bringing up Sky Bet as having some pretty decent odds on this fight. So it looks like Sky Bet are quite a bit off, man, especially with their props. Yeah, I like those odds, GTFI, for sure, man. Beezy saying, I think Connor will win in round 2. Yeah, he might start slow, look to pace himself a little bit. It's just, like, Cerrone starts so slow. I think Connor and his team know, you know, their best chance of beating Cerrone really is capitalising on his slow start and getting him out there early. So Beezy is saying, what is everyone's certain pick beside Connor? Do you know what, boys? This is one of those events where I don't feel like there's any like rock solid, like easy winners. Obviously Barber should win, but her odds are terrible. They reflect that. I do like Haqparast a lot, but not at these odds. And the thing with Haqparast is, Dober hits hard, right, man? He's got knockout power. There's no real safe bets, I think. You know? No safe ones. Boob is saying, I got banned from Bovada recently. It's a twat, mate. It's a bastard. These bookies are evil, man. I feel bad for you, Boob, mate. I really do. I'm posting a video tomorrow on YouTube of just another one of my betting accounts getting closed down. It's fucking annoying, man. Don't even know it's legal for him to operate like this. It's a joke. Rich P saying, took a small bet on Conor round 1 knockout at 2.80. Like that, dude. GTFI Gaming saying, people betting Macy Barber at 1.11 must be losing money long term. That's an awful bet. I agree, man. Do you know what's even worse? Where we look at the odds on Macy, they're still being bet down. If we look at it, we look at the odds movement chart, Macy's odds have consistently been declining down to 1.10, which means people were betting her when she was 1.13. Who the fuck would bet Barber at those odds? It is mental. Oh, nice one, Beezy. Thanks a lot, mate. D Smith 3427 has said, Conor mentioned these weight training mode. Do you think it will help or hurt? Weight training usually hurts you, man, right? Weight training usually means that it has a negative effect on your cardio, right? So it's probably not a good thing, man, but you never know. He is looking in great shape. He is looking leaner. He is coming in light for this fight, and he's taking it very seriously. So who knows, man? Boob is saying that he lives in the US, so doesn't have many options for betting. Have you tried BetDSI, dude? The thing with BetDSI is it's really easy to multi-account with them because they encourage deposit and withdrawals through Bitcoin. So it's way easy to, like, once you get shut down on them, open up another account. That's one of the things I like, man. The sites in Europe are way more sophisticated, so it's so much harder to multi-account. Stephen Blades is saying that Bovada's bad for live betting on MMA. Does Bovada offer live betting on MMA? I know they didn't used to, but I'm wondering if they do now. Let me know, dude. Vanguard 98 has said, what's the best alternative to Pinnacle? That's a tough one, man. There isn't really, to be honest, mate. Betting exchanges have got really bad liquidity. You'd say Bet365, right? But even though Bet365 close you down, they still have like really nice max bet limits, and they still allow you to win more per account than most sites. Not all the time, but like you can still get away with occasionally earning a hell of a lot from a Bet365 account, whereas most other sites are going to shut you down after, just a few hundred or just a couple thousand profit. So it's Bet365, but there's really no full-on alternative to Pinnacle, man. And of course, Pinnacle aren't great because they don't offer live betting on UFC or MMA, so it's pointless, right? It's a bit annoying. Do you know what? If Pinnacle did start to offer live betting on UFC, I'd honestly consider leaving the UK and moving to a different country, because Pinnacle don't accept players from the UK. Bear Cash is saying, I'm putting money on Pettis for sure. I feel Pettis is one of the best fighters when he's an underdog. When he beat Chiesa and Wonderboy, he was the underdog. Yeah, man, but I mean, styles make fights, right? And this is a difficult stylistic matchup for Pettis, man. Make no mistake about it, mate. Ferreira's pressure fighting style can cause him a problem, and obviously Ferreira, decent offensive wrestling, nightmare on the ground. Yeah, Boob just saying that Conor said on the Ariel Helwani podcast that he's under the £170 limit, says he's hovering about 160. Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I can't believe he's that light. Alex Leone just saying that Chiesa's nowhere near the grappler that Ferreira is, and neither's Wonderboy, who fought 10 minutes with his hands at his side. Yeah, I agree, man. Ferreira's no joke on the ground. And I think that is going to be it for the live stream, boys. I'm actually thinking this live stream's woken me up a little bit. Sorry we couldn't find any bets on this one. It's like, that's the card, though. This card's a bit of a twat for betting. Like, I did bet Hakarast a couple of weeks ago, but obviously his odds have got trashed. And all the fights I've done so far, I can just skim through them. It's like this fight, right? I think McGregor's going to win, but you can't bet him at these odds. You know, I lean slightly towards Olenek, but it ain't smart to bet on a 42-year-old Russian that's a little bit chinny and easy to hit. This fight, I don't want to talk about it that much because I mean, I've got a lot to say on this fight, but both girls have basically got huge holes that the other can exploit. Gadea's cardio is terrible. Grasso's takedown defense pretty bad. So there's no strong positions there. This fight, you know, I heavily lean towards Ferreira because his pressure style of striking, you know, that type of pressure style of striking historically has caused Pettis an issue, and Ferreira's got a huge advantage on the ground. But these odds are very steep, and I don't see enough from Pettis to want to take a gamble on him as an underdog. This fight is like, Barber should win, but you can't obviously bet her at these odds, and I don't see enough from Modafferi to roll the dice on her either. Haven't researched this fight yet. We've just discussed this fight. I have bet Hakarast, but obviously his odds have got smashed. I wouldn't recommend betting him now. This fight's impossible to bet because there's barely any footage available on Khmer. This fight's impossible to bet because Kelleher, similar to Elliott, is a mess outside the cage, and Osborne's pretty bad, and I haven't researched this fight yet. So from a betting point of view, I'm really excited for this card as a fan, but there's not really much I'm seeing at the moment in terms of solid opportunities to make money. But I've still got to research the Home Pennington fight. Still got to research the Philly Yusuf fight, which I'm going to go do now on my website. And I still have got to research the Aldrich versus Marzo fight. And I'm really hoping I find at least one more bet because, I don't want to just go into this weekend with a big bet on a big favourite in Hakarast. I'd like someone else. So I'll keep digging, boys. But anyway, thanks for this, boys. I'm going to go do another live stream now on my website. If you're one of my members, I will see you there. We're going to go and do Philly Yusuf because I don't want to go to bed. I'm worried that the odds on Yusuf are going to get crushed overnight. They've already started to move quite a bit today. But yeah, nice one, everybody. Nice one. Thank you. Just skimming through these comments, see if we got anything else. Norimaka said, do you have pre-made strategies for live betting, or just do you make your decision as you watch? I do both, mate. So for live betting, all my live betting's based on my pre-fight research. So what I will do, so for example, I'll give you a wicked example, right, on how I approach live betting. So in the context of this Askarov versus Elliott fight, we know that really the only major difference from Askarov is that for whatever reason he's too passive and spends too much time on his back. So say for example in round one, Elliott gets a takedown or two and he gets into top position, and instead of Askarov accepting being on the bottom, Askarov immediately pops back up to his feet. We've now got solid information in that position that tells us that the only weakness Askarov really had was that he's way too weak off his back and he spends too long on his back. And if he does that again against Elliott, he's probably going to lose. But we also know that with his skill set and with the team of coaches that he's got behind him, that's quite a small issue that he could probably tighten up. So in round one, if we see him get taken down and immediately pop back up to his feet, at that point, I'd feel comfortable betting on Askarov, because for me, if the fight stays standing, he's going to win. He's got a good chance of submitting Elliott, and I actually believe that he's a better wrestler in terms of having better positional awareness when he's actually focused on wrestling and not just trying to fight guys off his back from full guard. So that's like an example. So I wouldn't say I necessarily go into every fight with a plan for live betting, but quite often it'll be impossible to predict how a fight will play out based on pre-fight research, but you will be able to narrow it down to like 2 or 3 scenarios. So like with the Conor McGregor versus Cerrone fight, right? We've done the research, we spent 4 hours researching the fight, and we know, like clockwork, 9 times out of 10, by the 7 or 8 minute mark in the fight, Connor just doesn't have KO power anymore. It completely leaves him. We know Cerrone gets better and better with every round as the fight goes on. So that's what we're going to be looking for with live betting, right? We're going to know that, and we're going to think, right, we're going to keep our eye on the 7 or 8 minute mark. And as soon as it starts to see signs that McGregor doesn't have the power to hurt Cerrone anymore, that's when we're going to pull the trigger. Obviously, these are very basic examples. It gets way more complicated than this, way deeper than this. Trust me, I go super deep on live betting. But this is why we put so much work into this pre-fight research, because even if we can't find pre-fight bets, it's not a waste of time, because we can still use this knowledge to make money in live betting. So it's a little bit of everything, man. And it is another reason, boys, why I don't like giving picks. Like, I hate picks. I hate prediction contests, because I think it's dumb. Like, if you look at a fight like Maurice Green versus Alexei Olenek, for example, like, who the fuck knows who's going to win in that fight? It's chaos. Like, it is literally chaos. You may as well flip a coin on it. So I much rather than, researching a fight and then nailing my flag to one guy and being like, I really think this guy's going to win, there's absolutely no way he's going to lose, I prefer to research a fight, consider all possible outcomes, try and see if there's a strong position to put my money where it's very likely that one person will be able to win in relation to the odds. And if that's not the case, I use the knowledge we gain to try and make money live betting. And Stephen Blades is saying Cowboy looks much bigger standing side by side at the press conference. Yeah, I noticed that, dude. Cerrone's looking healthy, man. Cerrone is looking great at welterweight. Oh, thanks, Beezy, mate. Alex Leon is saying, I wish I had live betting opportunities in Vegas. You just have to play and pray. Do you know what, though, Alex? You can live bet, mate. Have you tried 5 dimes? Have you tried BetDSI? Give them a try, man. BetDSI. 5 dimes isn't that good for live betting. BetDSI is okay. You can only live bet on the main card, but at least you can bet during the fights, which is pretty good. Oh, nice one, Beezy, mate. Nice one, Alex Leon. Nice one, Boogie, mate. Peasy is saying my New Year resolution is never bet on female MMA again. Probably smart, dude, man. They are chaos. They are chaos. Female fighters definitely more inconsistent than males. Don't know why that is. It's just something I've noticed over the years. GTFI Gaming said, just want to see how professional and effective Allsop is at what he does. Do yourself a favour and sign up. Nice one, GTFI. Thanks a lot, dude. Nice one, mate. Stephen Blades is saying female fights are easier to predict. I'm not sure about that, man. I find them tough. Find them very tough. So many female fights end up being close and competitive. Nora Mack has said, I don't think you're going to bet on anything else. I've watched the tape, but you've got a high threshold, which I respect. Thanks a lot, Nora Mack. Cheers, dude. The people I'm interested in betting, without any research on the remaining fights, I'm interested in Pennington, Youssef, and Aldrich. But obviously, I need to see what's up. I need to watch them, man. Alex Leone said, I just research alongside and place my own wagers, hoping it coincides with also but other MMA predictors. It's just a plus. Nice one, Alex, mate. Bab329 has said, how much is the membership to be able to watch all the long live stream videos? It's only $19.99 a month, man. Yeah, you can watch everything on there for $19.99. So literally like fucking pennies, right, for every live stream. Boogie, I'll see you over there, dude. Nice one, Vanguard. Cheers, mate. Alex is saying, Philly versus Youssef isn't worth the time to research. Allsop is 50-50 and Youssef is a high-risk bet, just like Philly is a high-risk bet. Youssef should be able to power through Philly, but it won't be easy. Thanks for the heads up, man. Hey, Salazar, dude. I mean, thanks for the heads up, Alex. I still got to bloody waste my time researching it, though, dude. Even if you are right just for live betting, man, so I can kind of see what's up, spot what both guys are bringing to the table. Lee Goat is saying, I agree it's a tough fight. I think Youssef's hard leg kicks and pressure will give him an advantage. I'm really high on Youssef, man, but am I crazy, boys, right? I'm really high on Youssef, but I've got like this hazy memory of someone that he's fought being able to take him down and control him easily. Am I crazy, or was that someone else? Actually, I think that was someone else. I got it right. It was another Nigerian guy that I think he trains with who fought Amari Akhmedov, so I might be wrong there, boys. I might be wrong. Boob is saying, Chris, do you think Paige will ever agree to fight Barber? Oh, man, I don't think so, mate. I think if Paige wanted to fight Barber, it would have happened. And Rashad Stanky Leg is saying, wouldn't Pettis be a good underdog bet? No, I don't like him in this fight, dude. I don't like Pettis in this fight. If you go on my YouTube channel, I did break down the reasons why. Go check it out. I think I speak about that fight for about 15-20 minutes on this video here. This one, go check it out. But that is going to be it for this live stream, boys. We will be back on Saturday with another live stream, and I'll be dropping another video on YouTube tomorrow, so check out for that. Thank you watching on Twitch. Love you, boys. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Mixer. Take care, everybody, and I will see you all very, very soon. Have a great week, boys. I'll see